Hey everyone, it's Luke from Weldpro, and today I want to introduce you to a friend of mine named Joshua J. Recently, I had a chance to do a Zoom meeting with Josh to tell you guys a little more about what he does and hopefully give you some words of encouragement if you're starting out on your own adventure. Josh lives at one end of the US and I live at the other end, so we definitely had a few connection issues, but let's jump into that Zoom call with Josh. All right, what's up everybody? I'm here today with Joshua J from Anvil and Anchor Tattoo. He goes by Josh. Josh, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing really good, man. It's an honor to be here with you. So just have some questions for you. You know, we've been doing this kind of small business spotlight, and we want to focus in on people like you that are kind of starting up a business, or maybe you've been doing it for a while and it's growing. So hopefully, if you don't mind, I'm just going to ask you a few questions about what you do.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So you recently started Anvil and Anchor Tattoo, right? What do you guys do there?
So primarily my focus is to provide affordable tattoo machines to the tattoo community, as well as some other handmade pieces of tattoo equipment, foot switches, clip cords. My primary focus right now is just building quality tattoo machines that don't necessarily break the bank for tattooers.
That's awesome. And so how did you get started tattooing and maybe tattooing first, I would assume, and then building machines? How did that all come about?
Honestly, with the tattooing, it just kind of, I had always been into artwork and drawing, and I was constantly drawing. Had a stint where I decided I wanted to be like a custom painter for cars. So I went to auto body school, and it that didn't work out very well. And then my mom actually was the one that was like, why don't you do something with your art? And she was more so hinting at me trying to get back into doing custom airbrushing, painting, things like that on cars. What she didn't know is I'd kind of secretly already started tattooing friends and stuff like that. So I dropped the hint that I wanted to start tattooing, and that was not what she had in mind at all. But that led me down the path. So I worked in a tattoo shop for a while back in Minnesota, came out to Washington, and I've been working with Night Owl Tattoo for the last 6 years, kind of building that client base. So I'd always kind of tinkered with tattoo machines prior to me working at Night Owl, and tried building some machines and stuff, but they just really weren't, I didn't really know what I was doing. So I started doing a lot more research, started reading a lot more, started following a lot more machine builders that I really looked up to. Quickly kind of became like at our tattoo shop here, kind of the tattoo machine guru. Like if somebody was having issues with something, I would retune it for them. Started having other tattooers send me their machines to retune for me, just freshen them up, new springs, new coils, things like that, so they could get back into action of using that machine. And then that's kind of what blossomed into what Anvil and Anchor Tattoo Company is now. Tattooing ultimately is what led me into this. And now I kind of share the passion in both things, tattooing and machine building, and getting to play with new things. And
yeah, that's really neat. And so is tattooing and machine building your full-time job currently?
It is not. So I'm currently active duty in the Navy. I do
Thank you
that.
for your service.
Thank you. I do that and build machines and be a dad and be a husband, and kind of got my hand in a lot of different pots right now. So
that's really great. So you had mentioned you're located in Washington. Do you have a shop in Washington, or what are your plans for the Anvil and Anchor?
So currently right now, my shop is a garage. So I'm a one-man operation with the help of my wife. She's a lot more like business savvy. So she's going to basically start handling a lot of the administrative stuff that goes on with it. And then hopefully next year we'll be moving to Minnesota, bigger shop, bigger area. Hopefully can expand a little bit on what I want to be able to do with machine building, foot switches, clip cords, power supplies, hopefully build it into a bigger supply company. So
for anyone who hasn't seen, I mean, you have quite a bit of your work online on social media and stuff like that. If someone was interested in a tattoo machine from you, do you have a storefront? Are you selling online? How is it you're distributing your products?
So mainly right now, the biggest thing for me is kind of getting the word out. So between social media, I'm getting it out. I've also set up a big cartel store that's attached to both my tattoo Instagram and the Anvil and Anchor Tattoo Company Instagram. So I'm kind of double feeding that there, you know, just kind of word of mouth. So walking in with that case of fresh built machines into a tattoo shop, you know, there's been several builders that I've had that have done the same thing. They've came in, you know, that old style, like door-to-door salesman type mentality. My main goal is kind of getting it out there, getting the machines out there. So the artists that I work with at Night Owl, pretty much everyone there has purchased a machine from me. The feedback that I've been getting from them has been wonderful. They love them.
Yeah, so you're actually using a Weldpro TIG 200 to build your machines, is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, I bought the setup with the CK Worldwide torch, and it's an awesome machine. Took me a little bit to get everything dialed in. I was running a little bit hot at first, and now I feel like I've got a pretty good sweet spot. So I've just been kind of messing with the pre-flow and post-flow at this point to kind of dial that in. And yeah, it's been a great machine.
That's awesome. So how did you hear about Weldpro? Like, what made you purchase that machine?
When I first started looking at TIG welders, of course, one place comes to mind, right? For a budget hobbyist like myself.
Oh, Harbor Freight. We got to say it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I went into Harbor Freight. I looked at their Pro TIG series, the Vulcan welders.
Yep.
I mean, of course, everybody was raving, and it was within my budget. It was within that price range. And the closest Harbor Freight for us is about 35 minutes away. So I drove there and looked at them. And I had I think the Pro TIG their Pro TIG 165. I had the card, like pulled it out of the thing, had kind of gathered up all of my consumables that I was going to need. And I went up to the cash register, and she went to scan it. And she was like, "We don't have these in stock. It's a pre-order." And I was like, okay. So she's like, "Do you still want the other stuff?" And I'm like, well, no, if I'm not going home with a welder today, like, why would I need a welding table? Why would I need, you know, TIG gloves? Why would I need all of these other little things? So I got really frustrated about it, but there's a silver lining. So I stopped by one of our local weld shops to talk to them to kind of see what they had to offer. And when I walked in, they were friendly dudes. I was talking to them, and they actually offered me, like, they had I think it was one of the Lincoln Square Wave.
Yep.
Yep. And the price point on it was basically like a demo model, and it was $1,500 for the demo model. And I was like, that's kind of out of my price range. But I was like, what was I looking at out the door price? And it was closer to $2,000. So I continued kind of doing my search online, and I was back and forth, and I kept seeing you guys pop up on, you know, eBay, Amazon, kind of in the Google, you know, shopping thing, you know, as you're searching for like budget TIG welders, things like that. And I kept seeing your guys' stuff. The reviews are amazing on Amazon. You know, the stuff that I was seeing online, there was a lot of great reviews on the TIG 200. And that was so the other thing that sold me on it too was for $699 at Harbor Freight, if you buy the Pro TIG 165, it's DC only. So you're spending $700 to do only DC. And then I found your guys's, and I was like, well, $798 for something that does AC, DC, and it comes with a CK Worldwide torch for $100 more. I mean, the $100 more alone is worth it for the, you know, the CK torch.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Josh. Appreciate all the kind words, and thank you so much for sharing your business with us. Hopefully some people see this and kind of get inspired by you. Would you have any words for anybody who's maybe, always wanted to start their own business or always wanted to kind of get into something like this? I mean, anything you want to say to them?
I would say for anybody wanting to get started in this business, or in a business in general, if you have a great idea and it's something that you feel you can market, and it's not something that's overly saturated in your area, or you've sat down and it's something that you're very passionate about and you just grind day in and day out with trying to build that business, that's the biggest thing. Is just, if you're setting out to do it, you better push yourself to do it day in and day out. Be willing to work at it, because that's your baby. That's what you're trying to foster. If starting your own business is what you want to do, you just gotta kind of dive head first into it and just keep going, keep pushing. So
Go hard or go home, as they say.
yeah.
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 That's awesome, man. Well, Josh, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it, man. We look forward to seeing more of your work, and hope you take care of yourself.
Hey, thanks, Luke. I appreciate that.
No problem, man. Have a good one.
You too.